Hi everyone, Jeff here with you for a GMTE Express add-on YouTube exclusive. This is episode number 4 of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz between AEW and NXT. I give reviews on both shows and I will tell you which show I thought had the better action and gets my pick of the week. Let's get it underway with AEW first. It took place in the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Cold open to the show. They lead right into the first of the two AEW Tag Team Title Tournament semifinal matches. Private Party taking on Lucha Bros here. High-flying action here, non-stop. I mean, I thought maybe a little too fast at times, but still edge-of-your-seat action here from both teams. Both teams look good. The finish was set up when Private Party had hit Phoenix of the Lucha Bros with the gin and juice, but he wasn't the legal man. Pentagon was the legal man. Pentagon was able to capitalize on that, and ultimately the Lucha Bros were able to recover. And they ultimately win in the end by hitting the stomping package power driver off the top rope onto the Private Party, and they got the win, so they advanced to the finals of the AEW Tag Team Tournament. Really not a big surprise. I figured they were winning here, but still a great match. A lot of high-flying, edge-of-your-seat stuff here, so we had that. We got a Warlord vignette next. Previewing that Warlord is coming to AEW. They show him pulling weights and running dashes, so he's coming to AEW. We get the other AEW Tag Team Championships Tournament semifinal match here. They didn't space them out. They put them pretty much right back to back here early in the show. We got SCU, that is Scorpion Sky and Kazarian. They take on the Dark Order here. Again, I thought this was a pretty good match overall. A lot of good stuff here. The crowd, unfortunately, really wasn't into the match until later on. We see the Inner Circle minus Jake Hager walking through the crowd during the middle of the match here. They have these tickets. They go up to a suite up there in the Peterson Event Center. And they would play a factor later on, which we'll talk about when we get there. Again, a good match. SCU ultimately does win in the end. Kazarian hits Stu Grinson with the SCU later to win the match for SCU. So, yes, they do go the predictable route, but we are going to get SCU and the Lucha Bros to crown the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions on next week's AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. And Cody Rhodes did come out on Twitter and announce that the Rock and Roll Express, who of course have a thing going with the NWA right now with NWA Power, they're going to be presenting those AEW titles on next week's show. So that's kind of a coup. Maybe a working relationship with AEW and the NWA, maybe. We'll have to wait and see what happens going forward. Next up, we had Joey Janela. He was supposed to be taking on Jack Evans, but instead that was changed late. It's going to be Joey Janela taking on Kenny Omega here. This is a follow-up to a match they had on AEW Dark recently, which was more of a hardcore match. That's more of Joey Janela's style here. But this was a regular match between these two, and I thought it told a great story. Joey Janela got a chance to show off his wrestling skills. Kenny Omega gave a lot for him in this match. Ultimately, Omega does win in the end. He hit this awesome-looking V-trigger and then eventually hit the one-wing angel for the win. So Kenny Omega gets some momentum back here as he maybe pushes towards maybe getting an opportunity at that AEW title at some point. But I wonder what was going through Seth Rollins' mind as he was watching this match, because he was either watching this match or someone told him what was going on here. I think Kenny Omega was sending a message to Seth Rollins. That's just my takeaway from it. Because I'm sure all of you heard that recently at a Q&A, Seth Rollins was asked about a potential match down the line against Kenny Omega. And to paraphrase, basically, Rollins said once Omega's done playing in the minors, so basically referring to the AEWs as minor leagues, that maybe he would welcome that opportunity. So basically, Rollins taking a cheap shot at AEW and Kenny Omega. The difference is Kenny Omega made Joey Janela a bigger star here in this match. Rollins did not do that with Carrillo. Carrillo is not going to be getting any type of a major push, you would think. I don't think he's going to. Joey Janela, I mean, he was over here. The crowd really appreciated what he was doing here, and Kenny Omega made it happen here. And, of course, Omega's part of the Elite. He doesn't have to do that, but Kenny Omega's smart. He knows what he's doing. He wanted to get Joey Janela some more star power and get him over here, and that's, even though Omega won the match in the end, he did his job. Rollins didn't do his job as champion on Raw against Carrillo this week. That's just my thoughts, so we have that. Tony Schiavone's in the ring with Cody Rhodes. Cody's going to make a big announcement talking about what's going to be coming up at Full Gear. We really never get that because, remember, Jericho and the Inner Circle minus Jake Hager, of course, they're up in the suite, and they actually distract Cody by using these air horns. Got kind of annoying at times as well to interrupt him. Cody says because they're not in that other company, there's no invisible wall. He can actually go outside the ring and actually go up and take care of Jericho if he wanted to. Jericho tells the fans to shut up and eventually calls Cody an entitled millennial bitch and to stay in the ring. Rhodes gets to the barricades. He goes to the barricades and stops himself. Eventually, the reinforcements come out. We have Dustin Rhodes come out first, and then MJF comes out next. And then the big surprise, Diamond Dallas Page, kind of a surprise here. He comes out to make it 4-on-4. Ultimately, the babyfaces start working their way up the stairs towards the suite, and the Inner Circle panics. They lock themselves in another room inside the suite. Cody used MJF's scarf because Jericho had made a comment about his scarf saying, "Who wears scarves?" It was actually a pretty funny line the way he delivered it. You have to watch it. So Cody wraps the scarf around his fist and actually punches the glass window through the door there and opens the door, and then they have a brawl there. All 8 guys going at it here. They work their way out of the suite into the concourse there, Peterson Event Center. A lot of good stuff, a lot of action right in front of the fans there. The security there for Peterson Event Center actually gets involved to break it up. Pretty good realistic stuff, I thought, here. And of course, the one scene that everyone remembers, besides Cody dropping Jericho's face into Dippin' Dots, which, free publicity doesn't hurt. The scene with Chris Jericho on the floor, kind of in a pouting mood there, saying, "We've got tickets," and all that. And eventually he gets the security to escort the babyfaces away. But, just this visual of Jericho kind of pouting on the floor, saying, "We've got tickets to be there." Very cool stuff. Jericho, very smart individual. He knows what he's doing, and this is meme material, so I would expect a lot of memes of this coming forward. But that was great stuff here, and Jericho's promo and Cody's promo, just outstanding stuff. That's how you get it done. That was great. So after that, we had more tag team action. We had the Young Bucks. That's the Jacksons, Nick and Matt. They take on the Best Friends here. And good stuff here, I thought. Orange Cassidy actually comes out with the Best Friends before the match. He gets involved early on. He does his little shin super kicks onto the Best Friends. And later on, he actually hit a top rope dive to the outside with his hands in his pockets onto the Young Bucks. The crowd ate this stuff up big time. So that was cool. Ultimately, in the end, the Bucks were able to recover, and they won by hitting Chuck Taylor with more bang for your buck for the win. So the Young Bucks get back on the winning track here and beat the Best Friends. And then after the match, they officially accepted the challenge from Ortiz and Santana for that match at Full Gear. So we are going to get that match as expected. So that's going to be a great match to watch as well. Next match, Britt Baker takes on Jamie Hayter. Before the match, Britt Baker was given a video package here. I thought a pretty good video package. I love the jacket that she was wearing, the Britsburg custom-made jacket. Very cool stuff. She comes out, gets a big reaction. She comes out with the Steelers mascot in her hometown here. She was over like gangbusters here. Jamie Hayter, of course, coming over mainly from her work in Stardom. I think a lot of people will know her work there. I wasn't up too much on her, but I'm starting to learn more about her. She's in a tag team tournament thing that's going on in Stardom with Bea Priestley right now, who Britt Baker's been feuding with. So there's a bit of a tie-in there. This was easily Britt Baker's best match in AEW so far. Jamie Hayter looked pretty good here in defeat. Ultimately, Baker does win in the end with the lockjaw submission. The combination of the Rings of Saturn and the Mandible Claw. Jamie Hayter taps out. But yeah, Britt Baker looked great. This was by far her best showing so far. And we'll see what happens with her going forward. She's clearly going to be the face of the women's division going forward at some point. She's going to win that title. They do a backstage deal where Jen Decker is going to interview Jamie Hayter. Brandy Rhodes out of nowhere just comes by and attacks Hayter and sends her through the current. Jen Decker wants an explanation from Brandy. She gives her this evil point, and then that was basically it. So we'll see what happens with Brandy Rhodes. Your main event of the evening, with TV time remaining, we had Jon Moxley taking on Pac. Good stuff here from these guys. Pac attacked Moxley with a chair during his entrance. Moxley battles on the defensive for a while. He battles back. He ultimately hits the paradigm shift on Pac late in the match. Was not able to finish the match. Pac kicked out, and then the referee called for the bell because time had run out. And then we had a time limit draw here. Moxley ultimately does lay out the referee with the Death Rider as they went off the air. So a time limit draw here to end the show. Now, I mean, again, I get why they did it. I mean, the fans did crap on it, but they didn't want to beat either guy clean, so I understand that. And they're going to continue this probably going forward. Maybe a match at something at the Full Gear pay-per-view. We'll wait and see what's going on there, but they're going to continue this feud, so they didn't want to beat either guy clean here. I mean, I'm not a big fan of time limit draws. They don't do it very often, so I mean, while I'm not a fan of it, I didn't really appreciate the finish here. I mean, I get why they do it, so I'm willing to not be as upset about it as others, but still, I mean, I would rather see a winner, and at least they didn't go for a DQ. So that was AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. It took place from the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. WWE NXT, it took place from Full Sail University, Winter Park, Florida. They opened with the women's match with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. A lot of good stuff here from these two, back and forth action here. As the match is coming towards its conclusion, Ripley had hit a cannonball off the ring apron. Io Shirai ran out and assaulted Rhea Ripley on the floor. Referee did not see the action out there. Belair gets Ripley back into the ring, hit a spear, got a very close near fall. Then Candice LaRue ran out to take out Shirai on the outside, so there wouldn't be any more involvement from her. That was enough for Ripley to ultimately win in the end and recover by winning with the Riptide finisher for the win. So Rhea Ripley does win here. A good match from these two. A very good match, I thought. Rhea Ripley positions herself to maybe be in line for another opportunity to take on Shayna Baszler. We'll see. We had a Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate interview next. They were walking outside when Pete is asked about last week's match that he had. Bates says that Priest hit Dunne low, but Pete says it doesn't matter because he'll be sending a receipt to Damian. And then Dunne was asked about Killian Dane, and he basically just blows him off, saying he doesn't care about him. Well, he's going to probably care about him here pretty soon, I think. Matt Riddle and Cameron Grimes have a match next. Great match here. We had Matt wrestling early on. Matt Riddle had hit a jackhammer slam. The crowd knew what was going on there. They did the Riddle chant like they did for Goldberg chant. So clearly the fans knew what was going on there. A lot of back and forth here. Ultimately, in the end, Matt Riddle was able to hit the powerbomb towards the end, then the final flash, and then ended up Road Derek for the win. So Riddle gets a nice win here over Cameron Grimes. I thought it was a great match. And they did a deal, Bate was out there because he was sitting front row after the match. Cameron Grimes, was shoved by, Cameron Grimes, I should say, shoved Tyler Bate because he wanted to fist bump, didn't get it. And then Bate actually laid out Cameron Grimes with a punch. So that was kind of a cool little visual. We got a William Regal video from earlier in the day saying that Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai will be taking on Jessamyn Duke and Maria Shafar, and that winner would be the number one contenders to face the Kabuki Warriors next week for the women's tag team titles on NXT. So, yeah, they're defending the women's tag team titles on NXT. How about that? We got the Forgotten Sons taking on Breezango and their mystery partner. It was originally supposed to be Kushida, but he's out due to a legitimate injury from his wrist in a match he had with Walter recently. So the mystery partner turns out to be Isaiah Swerve Scott here. A lot of good stuff here from these guys. Really, everybody got a chance to shine during the match. Swerve eventually hit a springboard hurricanrana off Riker's chest onto the members of the Sons on the outside late in the match. Chaos on the outside. Eventually, Swerve hit a kick to the back of Steve Cutler's neck for the win. So Breezango and Swerve win the match. Swerve wins for his team with that kick. So, we got a good win here for the babyfaces. Cruiserweight Showcase match was next here. Angel Garza took on Jack Gallagher. Leo Rush, your NXT Cruiserweight champion, was out for commentary here. This match did not go very long. Garza dominated early. Gallagher came back by hitting his patent and delayed vertical suplex. That got the crowd fired up. Garza was able to recover and actually hit the springboard moonsault and pinned Jack Gallagher here for a surprise victory here. As far as Leo Rush's commentary for the match, I didn't think it was very good. He's usually a pretty good talker, but he was not very good here, I didn't think so. Angel Garza positioning himself maybe for an opportunity because they teased maybe something between those two going forward. We'll see if that happens. We had that number one contenders match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles next. We had Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox taking on Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke here, the Horsewoman. Horsewoman dominate early on. Nox eventually gets the hot tag, and she runs through the Horsewoman. And then ultimately in the end, this match did not go very long either. Tegan Nox wins for her team. She actually pins Jessamine Duke with the shiniest wizard to get the surprise victory here. I didn't think the Horsewomen were losing here, but they did. So ultimately after that, the Warriors show up on the screen. Asuka screams at the duel. Kairi Sane promises they have no chance of winning. I hope they win the titles because I think Asuka and Kairi Sane are better off individually than as a tag team. And like I've said before, Asuka should be challenging Becky Lynch and Kairi Sane can be doing stuff with Charlotte, in my opinion. Your main event of the evening, it is a triple threat match for the NXT North American title. We have Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era defending the title against Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. Of course, this comes as a result of what happened last week after Lee and Dijakovic had that match. It ended in a no contest, so we get this triple threat match here. A lot of good stuff here from all these guys. The finish was set up when Lee and Dijakovic had eliminated Strong. He was on the outside. They take on each other for a while. Lee hits Dominik with a top rope powerbomb, and then Strong actually runs and eliminates Lee with the running knee and actually pins him to win and retain. So Roderick Strong retained here. After the match, the Undisputed Era come out. They beat down Lee some more. Tommaso Ciampa comes out with the crutch. He gets into the ring. Johnny Gargano comes out. He gets into the ring. And then we see Finn Balor actually come out to a surprise here. He gets a big pop from the crowd. So it looks like it's going to be even things up here. But we get a surprise here because Finn Balor actually hit Johnny Gargano with a Pele kick. So he turned heel, which, really is not a surprise if you think about it. I kind of figured it may have been coming at some point. We haven't seen Finn Balor as a heel since his time in Japan. So they said about his past becoming the present. He was a heel in the past. So we haven't really seen him in the WWE because he's been mainly a babyface. So I can't say I was really surprised by it, but I thought it was a very nice twist here. Undisputed Era layouts. Ciampa with the last shot in the ring. Balor then hits a shotgun drop kick on the Gargano through the barricade into the crowd, into the people that were essentially extras. They were not real fans. And then ultimately we see Finn Balor do the handgun gestures, and then he leaves, and that was it. So that's how NXT goes off the air. So a nice little twist there at the end. So we had that. So we have my review of both shows. Which show did I think was better? I'm not going to cop out and go for a tie. I think both shows delivered very strong. I think ultimately it comes down to the end in the main event situation. AEW had a draw at the end, and NXT we had a retain, but we had a surprise heel turn, and I use surprise in quotes, from Finn Balor here, and I thought that was the difference. So NXT, I think, just slightly better here than AEW, so I'm picking them. So through 4 episodes, I have NXT with 3 wins, and I have AEW with 1. Do you agree with what I'm thinking here? Let me know in the comments section below what your favorite moment from Wednesday night is in the comments. Let me know about it and tell me which show you thought was better. So there you go. Thanks for checking us out here on the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Jeff here saying bye for now, everyone.
For the JBSN Media Network, this is Jenna Green speaking.